All right, all right. I think we're good to get going. We got a healthy number of people in the audience. Awesome. Welcome again, everyone, to the Dabba Town Hall. My name is Don. We are joined today by from the community. You know them, Rumor. We have Dingus, and you have Atlas Dragon, and we also have our founders, both Shubhendu and Karam. So, for those of you who are not used to these calls, these are the calls where we talk about company updates, what is happening, what you can expect to see on the network, etc., etc. Um, Getting into the agenda. Today, we're going to be talking about bringing data on chain. This is something that is very, very important and something that's very, very exciting, especially as we're moving to our mainnet and towards TGE. A couple of things. This is a 1 hour call. We will be answering questions as well. If you have questions, make sure to drop it in the chat. We will make sure to get to everyone's questions. In case the time does get over, we will make sure to answer your questions on the Discord. We do answer everyone's questions. So make sure to stay active. It's great to see all of you guys joining in. Hope you guys are having a good Friday morning, afternoon, or night, depending on where you are. It's about 9 p.m. in Bangalore. It's quite chilly in Bangalore, actually, which is quite nice. But yes, thanks everyone for dropping in. This will be a recorded call as well. We like to say that the recording will go up in 48 hours, but knowing the enthusiasm of Ankur and the team, it'll probably go up in a couple of hours. So if you guys can make it, make sure to catch the recording on YouTube as well. Links will go up in chat. But yes, I think we can jump straight into it. Before we get into it, just a couple of things we want to talk about. Happy New Year, first of all, to everyone, and welcome to the new year. Welcome to 2026. 2025 was a tremendous year for the network on all sides, right? When it comes to growth, we've seen the network grow exponentially. In terms of hotspots deployed, in terms of hotspots sold, the number of users who are using the network, the amount of data that's being consumed, the community members, every statistic of the network has just been up and to the right. The last year has been tremendous. We ended it on a high note at Breakpoint in Abu Dhabi. We had about, I think, around 10 to 12 members of the team over there. We had a great time. We had our iconic tea stall at the venue. We got to interact with a lot of members from the community. We made a lot of content. So before we get into it, Karam and Chubes, why don't you talk to us a little bit about the new year, the last year? What are your thoughts before we get into this town hall?
Yeah, happy New Year, everyone. Great to be here for the first town hall of 2026. Yeah, while you were talking, man, last year just sort of flew by and it was a hell of a year, right? Was just trying to think of what is the best, like, can I point to what was the best moment of 2025? I'm still thinking about that one. But the thing that immediately struck me was so if you look back to October 2024, right? We were like, oh my God, can you sell 1,000 units? By February 2025, it was, hey, we're close to 5,000 units. By March, it was, oh, okay, 10,000 units and change, you can do this. And now we're like damn near at 100,000 units, and it just feels like it's just been this nonstop thing. I was also trying to do a count of how many countries and events and places we've traveled to. I think it's definitely close to a dozen. It's mostly the same places, like Southeast Asia, right? Like Singapore, China, the Middle East, the US, back. And yeah, it's been a hell of a whirlwind year. We've grown faster than our wildest expectations, but that's also mean that I think we spent maybe 30 seconds celebrating some sort of milestone, and then your expectations get reset immediately, like to 100x of what it is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to 2026 and the growth that it's going to offer. But yeah, anyone else, if you have any thoughts on best moment of the year, I'm curious to hear that. But that's me.
Yeah, why not, guys? In the chat, what are your memorable moments of 2025? Especially as the network has been growing. I see a lot of OGs in the audience as well. So drop in your thoughts. What are kind of the big milestones and some of the stuff that your take backs from 2025? What about the rest of the guys up here? What are your guys' thoughts on the new year? What are some things you that really stand out for you from 2025?
I really like
What's me?
Breakpoint. I mean, that was a good way to close the year. You can go ahead, Dingus. But for me, it was like going to events in person, seeing like you guys have speeches in front of people up on Deepin Day, interacting with the people wanting to see you, everybody wanting to take the kurtas at events. They love the merch. Uh, that was probably like the highlights. Is everybody kind of enjoying the merch and learning about the product at events.
Yeah, for sure. I think the merch has always stood out at every event we've been to. I think Singapore, especially, yeah, with the keychains. I remember just seeing everyone walking around with their little keychains and clicking them around. I think we even have some footage of a bunch of Deepin founders all holding the keychains and clicking them together. So yeah, I mean that was definitely memorable, especially for Singapore.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think forget that. Abu Dhabi, if anyone ever visits the Etihad Arena or the Hilton next to it, I think you're going to see 90% of the wait staff wearing our kurtas. Because I think more than the attendees of the event, every waiter, every person, every staff member in that entire conclave wanted one. And I think whatever extra units we had that were left over, we gave to all of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a funny thing. At the end of every day, it was a bunch of guys that came up to us like, "Sir, can you give one kurta, please?" And we're like, "Just wait till the last day. We'll make sure everyone's taken care of." But yeah, it's pretty cool to see that. Yeah, everyone is coming up to us and being like, "We really want that merch." I think that's a good indication that we have some really fun merch out there that people like. Diggus, you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, I think it's been a wild year for me in terms of like how I started 2025 with Dabba. I had one hotspot. You guys were just at a few thousand hotspots and just kind of starting to cook. And here we are, crossing over, I think it was 85,000 we were looking at today. Yeah, it's been really a wild year to see the growth kind of go from 0 to 100 the way we have.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not just the hotspot growth, but even here on this call, right? Considering that I have to scroll down to see all the members on the panel talking right now, as opposed to a year ago, it was just Shubs, Karam, me talking about different things on the call to maybe five people in the audience to now having, these calls having 60 to 80 people joining in, and such an active community. It's definitely great to see visually growth across the entire community and network. That's been super awesome. Shubs, you wanted to say something? uh I think your mic isn't working.
We
Shubs
can't hear you,
started the
Shoes.
call, so you need to get out
Oh,
and
Shubs
join back
started,
in.
he has the curse this time. Shubs is like, yes.
Shit posting Shoobs continues in silence.
Discord has auto muted to Shubs. Uh, Shubs, you'll have to leave the call, refresh Discord, and join back in again. Otherwise, your audio won't work. He's like, it's fine. It's okay. Awesome. Okay. So, yes, again, a big thank you to the entire community. We have come a very long way, especially over the last year. It's great to see us entering the new year with a lot of momentum, with a lot of growth. And a lot of that, a big thanks to everyone who's been active, especially the OGs who've been around for a while, helping out with the community, answering questions, giving your feedback. All this has been super, super helpful. So just wanted to give a big shout out to everyone and all of you guys out there. You guys have been fantastic. And 2026 is going to be awesome. So moving into what we are talking about on today's call, we are talking about bringing data from the network on chain. This is a very important step as we're leading into TG. This is something super important. We've titled it On Chainuary. You can thank jacked for the nomenclature. He's been the guy to have creative names for a lot of our calls and meetings. But yes, the idea is basically over the next month, we're going to be bringing a lot of data sets on chain, a lot of information on chain. Karam's going to talk a lot more about this and kind of break it down and talk about what this means and why this is so important for the network. But the important thing is that you guys will be able to see a lot of this data on chain now live. You'll be able to see what this actually means for the network in terms of your hotspots, the network at large, and the actual growth of the network. So over this month, we'll be going over different data sets and different parts of the network that are coming on chain. We're not going to do it all in one call. So we're going to up the frequency of these town halls, probably have them every other week to kind of break this down. The idea is to kind of break down all these concepts, give the community time to absorb and give their feedback. As these concepts are also shared with the community, as we have these town halls, we will also be making edits to the Gitbook after every call. So I see there was a lot of questions before the town hall about updates to the Gitbook and when that'll happen. That'll be a continuous process up to TGE. So first, we're going to start with a lot of the on-chain data bits. So over these town halls, you're going to see updates to this. We'll have these town halls to explain the different bits, and then we'll have updates to the Gitbook where you can actually see, those changes live. We want to do it in segments, so we give the community time to absorb and respond and give their feedback. And yeah, it's going to be a great month. So I'm going to hand it over to Karam. He's going to kind of talk about what this really means, why this is so important, bringing this data on chain, and what this actually looks like from a technical standpoint. So yes, there's going to be a lot of technical stuff that we're going to be going through, but don't worry. Like I said, that's why we're all here to answer your questions and make sure that you guys don't get too confused. But we're also making such a way that you guys can also verify a lot of this data because it's going to be on chain. Karam, I'll hand it over to you. I think first thing we're going to be talking about is, why don't you tell us why this is so important and what is the significance of this to the network?
Yeah, thank you for that. So, definitely, I see that Keenan has already posted going bring the token on chain first, then everything else. Yeah, agreed, dude. That was the original plan. But the market decided to take the nosedive of nosedive, and so the order's been reversed a little bit. But I get it. That was very much the way to go forward. So as Don mentioned, we're going to spend the next couple of weeks bringing absolutely everything on the network on chain. Our goal is every single metric, literally everything that we track and everything that happens on the network will be on chain and publicly available. There won't be a single thing, as far as I know, that we're not going to be posting online. So just super broadly speaking, there are a couple of ways to represent data on chain. And there are multiple ways you could sort of architect this because a lot of this is looking at things through the lens of how do you want to frame the network in its structure. One is you can do it from like how the community looks at it. You can do it as the logical data network structure itself, or like something that's intermediary that sort of covers what everyone needs. So on a high level, the way that we've chosen to represent all of the data on chain is as follows. We think this is the simplest way, and we think it's exhaustive because it doesn't compromise on us not putting any data. All data is there. So yeah, the overall structure is on the screen. Basically, there are going to be three types of NFTs. There's the hotspot owner NFT, which is the one that you mint during your onboarding process. The hotspot NFT itself, the Dabba NFT, and there's going to be a LCO NFT or partner NFT. Right? These represents the sort of three major entities in the network, as it were. Other data that can be stored, another way that you would put different things on chain is, of course, the mint contract, the distribution contract, and other workflows like that. And we'll get into those in a little bit. Not on this call, but think of that as like the business logic way of how the different on-chain structures like NFTs and permissions and that sort of thing go. Then for more comprehensive data, which is every single day, we want to publish all of the, for example, data consumption uh, of the network and not do it as a single number, right? Do it on a granular level of this hotspot consumed this amount of data. So when you're doing things like that, a structure called a Merkle tree is a nice sort of way to represent that. So payments are in Merkle trees and data consumption as well. To keep things simple, and I know this is really nerdy, as I'm explaining this, I can see why Don was like, we're going to do this one section at a time and not talk about the entire data structure. But okay, just to cap this off from the overview, storing data on chain is expensive, right? When you're a entity like us and you're generating terabytes of data in logs and other things, it makes no sense to dump that online because any byte that you store on chain costs you money. So you use tricks like registries or sort of lookup tables where it's just like a series of numbers that reference other things that we're also going to be using. Hopefully the registry will be a little clearer in the demo that I do. Last but not least, there are stuff like the NFT image itself and other blobs of JSON data or other things that we want to display so that there's absolute transparency and people can download the raw data set and examine everything for themselves. We're going to be using IPFS and Arweave, possibly other distributed storage solutions, possibly our own. But that's a little later down the line. Okay, so that's the super quick, super overview bit. If you stop sharing your screen, Don, I can do a dive in of the first bit that we're bringing to the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we should actually change that slide. It's the hotspot NFT that we're demoing, not the hotspot owner NFT as the
Oh,
first one.
okay, nice. So yes, I think yes, guys. So there is going to be a lot of technical information, and but that's what we're here to make sure that we can answer the questions for you and make sure you guys understand what this means and why this is important. But Karan, why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of why even bring this data on chain? Why is this important? What are the fun things that can happen by bringing this data on chain as well?
So I think there are two sort of key reasons to do it. The first is obviously transparency, accountability, and that sort of thing. So everyone can see exactly every single piece of the network in a verifiable manner that the project would have to stand by. The second is composability, right? Because once we start bringing these assets and these structures on chain, we will be able to integrate way more with other projects. So you'll be able to do things like, loan out your hotspot and get leverage against that, or you'll be able to use your rewards with, say, something like Cast or other projects or things along those lines. So bringing this entire structure not only brings that transparency of, look, this is what the network is and this is how it's doing, but it also now expands the use cases and the utility of the Dabba token and brings more fluidity and tradability into the networks, right? So obviously, once we represent this and we launch, you will also be able to trade your Dabba NFT and do other things as well. So these are the two key reasons.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to open the doors for so many things. I mean, there's things that we've already been talking about internally and a lot of stuff that we'll talk about after the demo as well. But we're also excited to see just what people are going to come up with, right? Because it opens the doors for anyone to work off of our data and build from our data as well. And that's kind of really, really important. Something that we're really excited to see as this happens. But yes, let's go through the demo. Talk us through the wizardry that happens behind the scenes, under the hood.
Okie dokie. Trying to share my screen.
I think I show up
Hold on.
just sharing mine.
Share screen.
I can already see the chat buzzing with ideas and
Don, can you check once? Every time I tap on share my screen,
It bugs
Nothing
out.
seems to happen. Yeah, nothing happens. Should I
Y-
click come
yeah,
back, etc.?
yeah, just refresh. So Command R will refresh your Discord. It'll automatically kick you out also.
Okay.
Yeah, guys. So as Karam is just refreshing his Discord, and he's back. That was fast. Drop your ideas. What do you think would be the fun things you would like to see community members building off network data, right? Especially since there's going to be a lot of extensive data that's going to be coming on the network, and Karam's going to be walking through some of these points. What do you think would be really interesting to see?
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Epic, yeah. Because I mean, the next step is also the dev platform, right? And once we finish putting everything on chain, the dev platform runs easier. Okay, so what I'm going to demonstrate to you right now is one of the key pillars. So there's the hotspot owner NFT. There's the hotspot, the Dabba NFT itself, or the device NFTs as well, and the LCO NFT as well. So this demo is the Dabba one, and just keep in mind, all of this is running on DevNet right now. We're creating a fun little UI that we will share soon, that as we put all of this stuff on chain, you'll be able to browse it and check everything for yourself, because of course, we want everybody's feedback, and everyone has been part of tons of projects. So when it comes to the design and structure as well, we're super excited to hear feedback. Thing. So this is just to give you a representation of, just for this demo, we've added 100 devices. These are the Dabba NFTs. You can see that, so this is a compressed NFT that contains a bunch of data. So the first is you will see that when you get access to this thing, you'll be able to also go to the Dabba Explorer and see, actually which Dabba it is, of course. And using the Explorer of your choice or Bora Soul Scan, you're going to be able to see the account signatures, token address, etc., things along those lines. So the compressed NFT contains the asset ID, which is the on-chain proof of it. It's also got a PDA as well, because there is a ton of additional metadata and attributes that we want to be able to associate with this NFT. So for example, who the LCO partner is, right? What is the ID of that NFT that this Dabba NFT is linked to? So you can on-chain verify that relationship. Same thing to do with the bandwidth provider, same thing to do with the hardware manufacturer, same thing to do with the location owner. And you can see that we're, at least on the testnet thus far, and you'll be able to see more as we go, you can see where we've got that linked against. This is a little slow. There we go. And ta-da. Okay. The other thing that's interesting that we're storing for this is, along with obviously device, the index on the registry for it and other metadata like WD number. There's more attributes and metadata that are going into this that by the time you get this will be live and available. That's way more detail of things along the lines of device, lat long, city, state, and other info associated with it as well. So one of the fun things that we're also going to be putting on chain and adding is the last payment invoice, the actual payment for the data plan that was associated with this. Right now for this demo, it's loading off S3, but it'll be on IPFS fairly soon. So for any hotspot, you will be able to go see the actual invoice that the customer paid for that payment. So because I got to share another window, sorry, give me a sec. I apologize. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and switch to another window because, oh, here we go. So this is what the actual invoice of that actual payment is. Since this is on testnet, these is a little bit incomplete. As you can see, we're not going to actually display the real person's name that made the payment. We're going to obscure it like this. So, sorry. Our goal is to have unequivocal proof and traceability of every off-chain payment made by a subscriber for the actual services, right? Because That's the flow of how the system works. Somebody's paying in rupees, and eventually everyone's being um, uh, rewarded by earning tokens and that sort of
One
thing.
sec, Karam,
Is
can you
the
stop and reshare the screen? It's not loading you.
Yeah, I think your
Oh
stream
crap!
kind of died.
Sorry. Let's try it again. How about now? I'm
Yeah, now
scrolling
it
up and
works.
down. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you will have access to the actual payment invoice for traceability. This will be stored on IPFS, and it will contain the details that help make it verifiable should anyone need to do that. As I mentioned, since in the test, we're still in the process of this, we need to redact more info in the same way that we've redacted the person's actual phone number, account number, that sort of thing. We need to redact their name as well. Of course, you'll be able to see the operator, the local cable operator. You'll be able to see the billing period, right? Because a lot of people not only pay for plans monthly or like on public Wi-Fi ongoing basis, they pay for a couple of months ahead. And yeah, so we're going to be bringing whatever that the network generates in terms of offline revenue. It is going to also be available on chain and verifiably as well. So that was the invoice. And the way that'll be structured is every time a new invoice is paid, we'll emit an event. So you'll be able to query and get a list of all invoices if you want to see a full history of all payments made for by this device. Now, same sort of premise. The other key important thing is, okay, cool. These are the payments associated with this device. Here's the on-chain proof of it. And now here's the data consumption part. So what we're doing is we will improve this interface, of course, but right now, basically, we're storing data consumption of every hotspot across the network in a Merkle tree. You'll be able to plonk the NFT address of the hotspot, get the basic data associated with it, and get the hash of the Merkle root. You will also be able to generate the proof and verify for every single hotspot that uh, this data is in fact valid and this data was in fact consumed. Of course, because it's a transaction, sorry, in order to actually verify, you got to sign the transaction. So this is running on testnet. So yeah, you can see that we're actually pushing this, and you'll be able to verify that the Merkle tree proof was generated. If you want the raw data as well, we're providing that. You can see it's on IPFS, and so will payment data be as well. So you can map every single device to the data that it consumed in that epoch period as well. So that's a sort of quick overview of just the beginning of one of the NFTs. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, you will see us bring every other single NFT and element on chain, and we'll be providing easy to use interface and documentation, of course, on how you can query the whole thing yourself. So yeah. Oh
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think we didn't mention earlier also. Oh, I think that's in your other points later. Okay, I won't say anything.
Okay. I'll come to the other points and then we'll see if we actually uh if we missed it. But yes, this is super, super important. You know that now you can actually verify information from your hotspots. Now again, to kind of summarize what we're doing over the coming town halls, Karam just went through one aspect of some of the data that we're bringing on chain. Now, so in through what we went today, you'll be able to verify the actual revenue that's being generated by hotspots, and also the data consumption that's being generated by these hotspots, along with other important information that's going on chain, which is very, very important. Now, as we continue to go through more and more of these town halls, we're going to be walking through more parts of the network that we're bringing on chain and explaining what this means and why this is important. The other important thing is after this, we'll be adding the documentation. We'll be adding the documentation of what Karan just talked about to the Git book. So you should be able to see it. It should go live in about 24 hours, Karan. Like in the next day, it should go live on the Git book. Yep. And like I said before, after every town hall, we will be having this updated to the Gitbook so you guys can check it out yourself and dive into it as well. So we're going to have this, we're going to try and do it weekly or, bi-weekly to go through these details. We want to make sure that we're getting into these discussions across the Discord. So make sure you're asking your questions. If you're trying to get into the details, if you have any suggestions, we would love to hear those suggestions as well. So everything that I'm showing on the screen. So let me just start sharing my screen again. There you go. Is my screen sharing? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. So all these points that are right here on the screen right now. So Karam just went through the hotspot NFT, not the hotspot owner NFT, but the hotspot NFT. In a future town hall, we'll start going through the other NFTs as well. We'll start talking about the process of onboarding these NFTs, et cetera, and how this reflects to you as hotspot owners as well. So this is an important kind of process to start getting the community to understand the different aspects of the network, especially as it comes on chain. It's also important to note there's a lot going on, under the hood that a lot of us don't really know, right? I saw some comments about that as well. On the face of it, it's very easy to say that, oh, there's a hotspot and it goes live. But there's also so much more, not just the actual operations of someone physically going and setting up a hotspot, but also the dev work that goes on behind the network to make sure everything is running smoothly as well. Now, what can you guys expect to see next, and what is coming up next? So the first thing, like I said before, we will continually have more and more town halls. We're gonna bring up the frequencies of these town halls, have them more often, and start talking about all this on-chain data and make sure the Gitbook is updated as well, and give the community time to absorb and give their feedback. Now, as once we go through this, we will also be going through the new version of the Explorer. Karam and team already has their V1 of the new Explorer, but we decided let's not go into that just yet. Let's start talking about the on-chain data and everything that's important for the network, and then we'll start getting into demos of the new Explorer. So that's also going to be very exciting. So keep a lookout for announcements on that. Another very exciting thing, and something that we talked about before, now that this data is coming on chain and it's going to be publicly verifiable and accessible to anyone, we're going to see a lot of third party applications coming out, right? We're going to see a lot of people building dashboards, bringing, I saw someone, I think it was Buckup, have an idea of building a game, right, around, the actual network and let the network run as a game, right? These are things that people can start building, and we can start, having things like bounties and different programs for developers as well. And Karam, briefly mentioned a developer platform that the guys are working on. So this is also, kind of in track with stuff that we've already talked about, that we've always talked about before, whereas we want to make the network accessible to everyone so people can build on top of it. That's very, very important. It also comes back to our whole layer zero deepen thesis as well. So very exciting days to come with this information coming out there. Again, coming back to updates on the Gitbook. Another question that a lot of people had, I saw on the Discord, were updates to the Gitbook. Like I said at the beginning of the call, we will have continual updates to the Gitbook up till TGE. Over this month, the focus of updates will be the on-chain updates. That's what we're going to be focusing on. Once we're through with those updates, we'll start getting into other updates, things like burn mechanisms, token rewards, etc., and feedback that you guys have had over time as well. We will follow the process that we've always followed, where we will provide updates beforehand, make sure we discuss it with the community, see what your guys' feedback are, and then move forward with it from there. So that's kind of the process that you guys can look forward to, especially over the next month. Before we get into questions, Karam, Shubs, what else would you guys like to say about just everything that is happening right now?
No, I think you pretty much covered it all. We're bringing everything that we can on chain before we launch the token. We've got a new Explorer. We've got some more functionality coming, and yeah, it's just solid grind work for the next couple of weeks.
Nice. Yeah, so we're gonna open the space up to questions. Rumor, Dingus, and Nick, please scroll through the chat. If there are questions, guys, in the chat, if there are questions that you want us to answer, make sure to ask them again right now. I see that the chat is active. It's great to see that it's active. So your questions might be lost in the chat. So just copy your question and paste it again. Atlas and Dingus, if you guys come across questions, just let us know. Let's start getting into questions.
All right. Shill Will asked, his comment got deleted, but I pulled it back. I attended a deep in space the other day talking about burn mechanisms stopped for a long time and being injected, the load of money being burned back into the infrastructure instead of being burned to pilot further growth for a guaranteed long-term success of the projects in that category. What does that specifically mean for Dabba? And I think he's getting at, is this something we all be contemplating?
Yeah, great question. So, I actually want to phrase this in the so our committed model is a buy and burn model. When we finalize the final tokenomics just before launch, you'll see what the final result is over there. The interesting thing, I think, as a structured way of looking at this is, I believe that deep in projects like ours live in the Web 2.5 space at the moment. And as a result, there is always going to be a constant pull on the Web 2 side of things to spend money in fiat on network and infrastructure growth. And there will always be pull from the Web 3 side of things to do things like token burns and other incentives and things along those lines. I think you're gonna see a continuous seesaw from all projects on the weightage of what amount goes where, because like you saw, even with helium, right? They didn't do 100% pullback. 50, the carrier offload revenue is still being used for burn. The mobile subscriber revenue is being used for infrastructure growth and other things like that. So I think you're going to see a continuous thing. And I think that's good because different things are required at different stages of the process. For example, for an early stage process, maybe you want to prioritize the burn a little bit. You just want to show the minimum level of burn accepted to show that you have commitment to it and a growth path and milestones and how you will do burn like that. And maybe spend the majority of your money just on pure growth, right? Because the leverage of return for everybody is much higher there. So maybe when you mature as a later project and that sort of thing, you start tilting that in favor. So yeah, you'll see our final version of this, but I think that's a good broad structure of the way to think about it, is that it's always going to be in flux for the lifetime of pretty much any project. I don't think there's a one true answer in this area.
I really like that. You got to stay flexible in this space, pretty much no matter what. And I think Ethereum, like you said, they with their hip implementations, they've shown that like you can't just stick with what worked right out the gate. We need to just keep working with it.
Don, you're on mute.
Don, you're muted. Your
Oops.
face is very animated, but your
My face
voice is not existing.
Oh, my voice is just like, okay. Yes. So just like both Dignis and Karam said, right, the burn mechanism is important, especially as a business to show that there is active mechanics on the token. I think that is really important. But there's been some great discussions around burn mechanics, what it means for deepen projects. I think Ankur, and the community, we had a space last night where Karam and different members of the Deepin community talked about this at length. There's a great post by Amir and also Dylan that also jumped into this. Ankur, maybe you can just link those in the chat for people to go through as well. That's really important. Yes, TCAP says, why not go back to the questions? Yes, so Ankur has collected all the questions that you guys have been asking. So there is a document that we have internally with everyone's questions. So we will be answering all the questions. There is a point, and it is important for you guys that you asked your questions earlier. We will make sure we address them. That's really important. But yes, don't worry. We will answer questions. Next question. What do we have next?
I mean, I can jump into those questions in a category, and if any of them you want to take it up, I can go with that.
Yeah, let's just hammer
So,
them out.
starting with there were a bunch of questions which is basically can be summarized to when updated tokenomics, mainnet rewards are for deployed or sold hotspots, and what is the supply on day one. Yeah, I mean, most of this will be covered in a follow-up town hall, but if you want to add anything to it.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I said before in terms of tokenomics. The idea is we will continually have updates to tokenomics up to the TGE date, especially as we are going through a lot of these mechanics with the community. We want to make sure that we're going through different aspects. First aspect right now we're going through is on-chain data, talking to the community about it, you guys giving us the feedback, and then we take it from there. The other aspects that you guys talked about as well, we will make sure that we have more town halls and talk about things like supply and stuff like that in future town halls and bring those updates into the Git book as well.
Okay, going forward, next
Yeah, but I
question.
think in his list of questions here, it's worth answering the non-tokenomics related ones, if you're okay with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
covering
going through
the
them.
next one.
Oh, you're Kevin. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
My chat started working, so I'm very excited. Ah, no, okay, I'm cool. See them up to you.
Alright, so next question is Genesis RAM. There's clarification if it's on the hardware sale or it's on 199 or 299. How is the mechanism of it going to be designed?
Yes, so it will be on the 199. That is on the hardware aspect of the purchase. So it'll be on the hardware. Yeah, it'll be on the 199 of the purchase. That is the GLP is based on that.
All right. Next category, next question we already covered the when new explorer and when the swap feature. So all of those will be happening as we go forward.
Yes,
Towards TG. Yeah. Following that is
not post TG, not post TG.
around.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we will be talking about we will be getting into new Explorer and the new updates in a future town hall. I think it'll take us, I don't know, kind of maybe two more town halls to finish all the on-chain points. I think another one or
Hmm,
two town halls at the
two.
most,
It'll
right?
take two.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think another one or two town halls on on-chain data, and then we'll start getting into. I mean, we'll start going through. Probably put together a schedule of town halls and what the different topics we'll be covering. But the update to the Explorer will be one of those for sure.
Yeah. Next one is on Genesis rewards. Are there going to be any revisions on the campaign stage rewards? That is basically all hotspots sold in last year or 2025. And when will the new sales resume with the new structure?
Yeah, so revisions to campaigns, no, they're not. There's not going to be a revision to the campaign structure of Genesis rewards. I think I talked about this. I dropped a message earlier, last month as well when we were talking about the Genesis rewards. The idea is we need to start rolling down Genesis rewards, especially as we get to TG. That's going to be very, very important. We will be starting sales very soon with the new model of Genesis rewards on new sales. We will have announcements and updates to that very soon. So the answer to that is very soon. Sales will kick off soon with the updated plan.
All right. Next question is about the Dabba Foundation. Who's part of it? How will the funds be used? What is the process of using DBT by the foundation? Anything around all that?
Yeah. Karam, you want to answer that one?
That one we will cover just before we do the token launch. That'll be in like the final presentation. Because the exact structure of how we describe it and all of that the language has to be vetted by the lawyers, along with the language exactly for the launch and the available supply and etc. So we will definitely cover it. We're committed to transparency. I think on-chain URI is going to prove our insane commitment to transparency because we're going to post pretty much everything. But with the structure of foundation, how that's going to work, you will definitely have the clear details on that before the launch actually happens.
Yes. And just to add to this, so the questions that are being asked also, like I said before, we are maintaining internal document to make sure that we're addressing any of these concerns as we keep continuing through town hall. So we'll make sure that they're addressed. So guys, make sure you are asking your questions not only here, but if you have questions later, make sure to bring it up on in Discord in the general channels or any of the other channels. We are watching, we are taking note, and we are making sure we address all these questions.
All right. Next thing is a little bit the future. Do we have a post TG roadmap for the next 6 to 12 months? And what does success look like for Dabba in 3 years based on revenue, users, scale, etc.?
Yeah,
Oh,
Karam, I
yeah.
think you had the perfect answer to this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, public roadmap is clear. North Star, one number only matters, number of hotspots deployed. Any public announcement of what we do pre-TG or post-TG is designed to make sure that more hotspots gets deployed one way or the other. So the pure focus is on that. Um, our level of ambition has changed dramatically from last year to this year. Our 18-month, 12 to 18-month goal, if you had asked us 6 months ago, was to hit 100,000 hotspots. We're pretty much always there. Our goal is to 10x the size of the network and get to 1 million hotspots as soon as possible. That does a really good connection segue into the other question, and one more that relates to that, which is what does Dabba look like in 3 years, in the best case, and that sort of thing. In 3 years, hopefully somewhere close to 10 million subscribers, right? That's the goal. And I just want, again, to reiterate the scale of the problem that's being attempted here. The goal of the project is to roll out on the order of 500 million internet connections over the next decade as humanly soon as possible, right? And that requires for us to be insanely focused really on two fundamental axes. One is being able to attract enough capital to solve the problem. And the second is being able to onboard and speed up operations fast enough so that we can onboard enough ISPs and LCOs and enable them to make sure that happens. So our goal for the next 3 years or so is wildly ambitious, maybe to get 10 million hotspots plus. I think this relates to one final question in that sort of same vein, which is at what point do you not need token incentives, right? At what point does this thing become self-sustaining? To be absolutely honest, I think, Shubs, if you want to punch in something there in the silent chat, go ahead. This is your moment. But broadly speaking, for me, that's close to about 1 million hotspots, right? Where you're generating enough revenue in the tens of millions of dollars, close enough MRR, and you have enough room to do token burns, to handle supply shocks, unexpected events, and continue to grow the network. But I believe that that's a very short-sighted way of looking at it. Because remember, again, the goal is to deploy 500 million hotspots. I want you to think about trying to tie incentives so that we create more and more incentive, not withdraw incentive. Because the scale of the number of people that we need and the capital that is needed to really solve this problem, no one has rolled out such a big communications network in such a short period ever. This is the first time, right? So, yeah. The minimum viable version of self-sustaining is at about 1 million hotspots, where you can say, this is a great mid-tier solid project, but you always want to have incentives because, dude, you want to launch satellites. You want to finish out the lasers from here to space. You want to deploy Africa. You want to deploy South America, right? The total addressable market here is 3 billion people. Never mind the 500 million connections in India. So long roadmap, but yeah.
Nice. Yes, I mean, there is definitely a long way to go just within India itself. And I definitely like how Karam mentioned that we have really relooked at kind of our objectives and our goals and have become even more bullish on kind of what we want to achieve just by looking at what we've done over the last year, especially from where what the milestones that we want to achieve that over 1 year we have achieved in a much shorter period of time. So it's definitely going to be exciting to see this over the next 12 to 18 months for sure.
All right. So going forward and carrying that same thought, as we become successful and as this gets picked up, what happens if larger telecoms or other deepened players enter the same markets and try to emulate what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I have a thought here, and then or sorry, Karab, you had something that you want to say.
No, for
I
me, it's
saw
very
your
simple.
eyes like just light up.
No, I'd love to hear what your thought is. For me, it's actually super simple and super practical. The more, the merrier.
Exactly.
Cool. Telecom player have done like 10 million connections so far. Great. That's still 490 million to go. Thank you, Starlink, for your few hundred thousand subscribers that you're going to get. There's still 490 million to go. So, if anyone, telecom tycoon, right? Our goal is to make as many ISPs and enable them as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say pretty much the same thing. The more people, the better. Keep in mind, it's been 30 years, more than 30 years, that privatization of telco in India, and that's just half of our population that has been covered so far. We still have a long, and when we say half, we mean you know over like 700 million people don't have access to the internet. This needs a lot of people working at the problem, not just one company and not just one business. So the more people involved in it, the better. We see that as a good thing. But also, on the other hand, when you talk about competition, yes, competition is good. But we also see that we do have a leg up on a lot of these processes because, as you guys have seen, it takes a lot of work to do this, right? We're working with a lot of, LCOs, which are, these micro ISPs. We're working with, Shubs and the team works with regulators and, all of these, people very closely. It takes a lot of work and a lot of coordination to make this happen. So the great thing we have is we do have a leg up on this since we've been doing this for the last 8 years. So if there are new people who come into the market, yes, that's good because that makes the process a lot easier for everything. We'll see a lot more standardization of things. It's just good for the entire ecosystem.
Awesome. So as we scale out, as we grow to different places, different phases of the project, how often and how what will the process of tokenomics, emissions, reward splits, how will they be reviewed, adjusted? What will that look like?
Yeah, so in terms of what the actual timeframes are, that we'll have to, we'll measure that as we go. But as we have talked about before, we will start a dip process. So we will have a DAO process where even currently how we do, where we put out information first, we let the community go through it and we take feedback. We'll have a more structured and DAO approach to that, especially after launch. What those windows will look like, we'll have to test and work on those as we progress. But there will definitely be a process in place after launch.
Awesome. The last one from Bug Up is when will the Dabba Pro be available, and is there any public roadmap for carrier offload?
Ooh. Karam, what are your thoughts on
Uh,
that one?
no public announcement on either one of those fronts at the moment. We've learned now make an announcement, commit a date, and make it happen. Till then, shut up. And so I'm choosing the shut up approach.
Yes, I think we have a lot to kind of focus on at the moment. So yes, the pros, lasers, offloading, those are great things. But I think the focus right now is getting to TGE and making sure all those good things happen. That's the focus at the moment.
Coming to the network on ground right now, are there any locations that are showing the highest sustained bandwidth per hotspot today? And will there be ever any kind of location-based incentives on the network?
Yeah, so the way to think about sustained users is it's a power law, effectively, like a Pareto curve. So it's not about geography so much as who's the enthusiastic user in that area and what's their thing. So you kind of see them scattered all over the place. Location-based incentives, maybe there's some really interesting things that we're thinking about maybe related to staking and other things that we'll talk about at some point. We have some fun thoughts around that. Closer to launch, you'll see the functionality and the availability, especially now that things are moving on chain. You'll be able to play with that stuff really soon.
Nice.
All right. Odie dropped in a question. Is there an opportunity to pivot from?
You
Is there an
cut out.
opportunity where you can allow hotspot uh, exchange reward points for additional hotspots ahead of TGE Vault or at a planned spot price, so we can avail Genesis rewards and onboard even more locations in the interim? Basically, can we swap a Genesis rewards to get more hotspots at any fixed price before TGE?
Interesting idea. Nothing yet. Shubes, you got any comment on this one? I'm going to punt this to you.
Interesting thoughts. Definitely worth thinking about. We will get back on that. Yeah.
His mic works, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you didn't notice. In between, he exited and came back and fixed his mic.
I was just chilling, man.
But yes, I mean we are looking at different models for hotspot owners and Genesis rewards. This could be in the form of staking. This could be in the form of the idea that you had of maybe getting hotspots. So those are some great ideas. Keep putting these ideas in the chat. On the Discord, we are making note of these different ideas. We will talk about it later. For now, we don't have a concrete answer to that, but it's something we will definitely look into. Keenan said idea TGE next week.
Correct. Many ideas for many things. We'll all find out when we test the idea and see how it goes. Oh, and we're
Keep
going
the
to
ideas coming.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I mean, I think we'll address the big question that pretty much everyone has, which is when TGE. Now, yes, I did mention it in the previous slide before we got to this and forgot to get into that. But yes, we are well aware that everyone is super anxious about getting TG done, and the same goes for us. Progress is looking good. Everyone is back from the holidays. Markets are starting to pick up, so conversations are going well with exchanges. We will have announcements as and when we can put them out. But rest assured, we are working for a Q1 TG launch, and that is still on the cards. That is what we are working towards. So everything that we're working on right now and all the stuff that we're doing is in action to make that happen. Guys, do we have any other question? I see one question from Odie. As a follow-up, any plans for fractional ownership ahead of TGE to bolster growth and accessibility? We are talking to a couple of partners to see if that's possible pre-TGE. We do have PinLink as one of our partners for fractionalization. That is for post-TGE, but again, we are talking to different partners to see if it's possible pre-TGE. If you guys have any suggestions of different projects that you think we could work with for fractionalization, we'd be more than happy to look into them and have more conversations. Am I missing any questions, guys?
I think we covered everyone. If there are any left,
No,
just
that's
please drop them in.
Dingus, Nick?
Centralized exchange partner announcement will happen in due time, not immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Shub said, and what I mentioned earlier, this is part of the discussions that are happening. Uh, those announcements will come out. TG was delayed last month. Why wasn't the Explorer ready? The Explorer is ready. Like I said, we do have a first version of the Explorer. The Explorer, the update to the Explorer will show a lot more data, and you can see a lot of the on-chain data that we're bringing out right now. So it is ready. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing is the stuff that will be coming on the Explorer as well, and all these things are ready. We don't want to have one town hall with all of it because, as you guys saw in today's town hall, it's a lot of technical information, a lot of stuff to go through. So we want to put it out over time and make sure there's enough time for the community to digest and go through all these points.
Wow. No, I will shorten that long-winded answer. The Explorer is ready. Don doesn't like it enough, and he's like, you can do better. So once the changes that he wanted are done, then we will announce it, roughly maybe 2 town halls or so or not. There is a new Explorer. I've even teased it earlier, showing the screenshot. It's awesome. This is just Don. None of that, what he said, is true. But he has
I
a
mean,
point. There are a couple of things that could have been improved. Like, we might as well improve it and then show it to you. What's the upside of showing it to you right now, I guess?
yeah, I mean, definitely with all the new data that's been coming out, we definitely want to make sure that a lot of that is on the Explorer. Uh, and yes, as Jack said, Don only wants the best. I only want the best for the Dabba community. They only get the primo stuff from us. So we want to make sure that they get an awesome Explorer. And I mean, to be honest, the Explorer does look really good. The dev team and Ankur have been doing a really great job on the new Explorer and what's been showing out there. If you guys remember from previous town hall, Karam did show a little teaser of what it might look like. And what I really like is it's a lot more contextual, and you guys can make more sense of the network through this. So maybe in the next town hall, let's see. We'll definitely do want to do a teaser of what the new Explorer will look like. So I'm just scrolling through the chat. Again, guys, if you have any questions, if you think we missed it, now's your time to dump it in the chat and we will answer them. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. If nobody is repeating questions, I don't think there's anything not answered. I can just see the memes. Shubs is feeling a little sleepy. He's ready to go to bed. It's the last meme that he put out there. But yes, okay. Thanks everyone for joining in. We love these town halls. We love talking to the community. Takeaways again, keep asking your questions on Discord. This is our path to TGE. It's continuing. We're making sure that we're having a strong path to TGE, strong metrics across the network, strong growth across the network. Again, thanks everyone for being an important part of the community and the network and making this happen. Again, we will have more frequent town halls, especially over this month. We are aiming to have it weekly. We might do it bi-weekly to make sure that we can accommodate all the questions and feedback that the community has. We will announce, we will keep dropping TG announcements as and when they happen, and we will also keep making edits to the Gitbook and the tokenomics as and when they happen over the next month, and making sure that we answer everyone's questions. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. Again, thanks everyone for joining in and being a part of the town hall. Thanks to the amazing community managers, the ambassadors, for everyone who is out there supporting the network. 2026 is going to be the year of Dabba. It's going to be an incredible year of a lot of growth and a lot of fun stuff for everyone to dive into. So keep your eyes out, ask your questions, give your feedback, keep asking when TGE. We are here to make things happen. That's what we do. I mean, before the call, Shubs was actually, we were planning to have an overlay for my screen that just said when TGE over my head. I couldn't get that, put out in time. But yes, it's an important question. We always appreciate the community for keeping us honest. We strive to keep doing that, and we will keep doing that. So thanks again everyone for joining in.
Yeah, I think we're striving. We prefer the question of right now, which is when TGE, then rather after the TGE, everybody going, why TGE? Right? So I prefer when TGE right now. Keenan's going to be here really soon going, why? I told you guys not to do it. You should have listened. But it's going to be fun. Let's do this. 2026, baby.
YTG. Yes.
Make them happy one way or another. I tell you.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Oh, God.
it's gonna be a fun couple of months. Pre TG, post
We better
TG.
about YTG.
we're we're gonna
New kurtas
We're
to be
happy with
made.
Ben TG rather than YTG.
new kurtas. We're gonna have a what, why, when TGE seminar very soon. But yes, good to see that the community is out here asking those questions. And we look forward to the months to come. Thanks everyone for joining in. As always, a great town hall. Thanks everyone over here on the panel for being a part of this town hall. As always, stay safe, stay happy, and we'll see you guys in the next town hall. Bye bye.